Morning, guys. Here we go. Nigel Farage has responded to Rupert Lowe's offering to work together. I don't know why the press are reporting it as an olive branch, saying that Rupert's offered Nigel an olive branch. It's not an olive branch. It's a piece of barbed wire. I can't see Nigel putting his hands and accepting a piece of barbed wire, can you? It's got some nasty barbs on it for an olive branch. Have a look at the 5 points that Rupert says that he and his party, our party, will not bend on. Mass deportation of illegal migrants, including women and children. Yeah, Nigel might buy that. Tougher rules on legal migration, a ban on halal and kosher slaughter, the burqa, cousin marriages and Sharia courts. Nigel won't be able to accept that. He's got too many foreign backers who enjoy halal food. And I'm sure those members of the Reform Party's Friends of Israel grouping won't be wild about that either. They won't. Remind me to tell you all about Arefs one day. Anyhow, no. So Nigel might accept point one. He couldn't accept point two. He wouldn't be allowed to. A referendum on the death penalty? He'd probably support that. Some demographics within his party are all for it. Welfare cuts to fund self-sufficiency. I don't know enough about that one, actually. I'd like to see a document on what the welfare cuts would involve. I think the people would like to know that as well. And of course, the final nail, I think, or barb for reform would be the exclusion of former Tory ministers from any future cabinet. They are now deeply embedded within the Reform Party. They're not going to accept that, are they? So Nigel's not going to accept this. How did Nigel respond? Well, he did as we thought he would. It was a bit of a lukewarm response. Pause, Paul. Farage, he hasn't actually, well, in his response, carefully worded, he's avoided either accepting or rejecting Rupert's offer. Yeah, he's walking his tightrope again. He spoke about the next election being an existential fight, and he at least admitted that reform would need support from people in other parties. Personally, I don't think he should get that support from Restore Britain. And he's still after the millions of people, as are Restore Britain, who haven't bothered to vote. We saw that in the recent Manchester election, didn't we? Mayoral election. What was it? Only 25% of the voter base could be bothered to turn out. Yeah. It doesn't seem like reform can wake those people up, and neither is Restore Britain. He went on to say that he was trying to form a broad coalition. It was interesting to see what Paul Thorpe and Dick in a Man had to say about it. That was funny. Abath Rex done a good video on it. Anyhow, as I said yesterday, he said that Nigel said that reform is opening to people who share his views on borders, the economy and democracy. And then there was the game ender, if you like, with regards to cooperation. He said, I will never turn my back on my team. He's talking about all the Conservatives and all the foreign demographics embedded within his party. Yeah. I think that was a reference to where he said that Rupert demanded that the former Conservative ministers should be excluded from any future government. And of course, as we know now, there's lots of prominent former Conservatives. And so Nigel is saying that he's not prepared to sacrifice them to reach an agreement with Restore Britain. In other words, he'd rather see the country as a ship sink than save it with Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain. Interesting, Nigel said that everybody from other political parties are welcome to join Reform. Yeah, except of course people like me, patriots, veterans, and people who really care about the country. We're not welcome. They'll welcome the third world. In fact, they'll even put third worlders up as candidates before they'd even consider having anyone like me in their farce of a party. Yeah. No. He hasn't actually shut the door, has he? No, he hasn't shut the door. Personally, I wouldn't have even knocked on his door, but, well, it's a tactical move, a chess move, political chess. It was a blinder by Rupert. I don't know that I'd have bothered knocking on Farage's door. He doesn't want an equal partnership. There's only room in this world for one leader, and that leader should be Nigel. Yeah. He's always only making plans for Nigel. He says that cooperation must happen around Reform rather than through an equal partnership between Reform and Restore. He hasn't agreed to any negotiations. He hasn't mentioned the five policy conditions that Rupert said. He should be pressed on those. Yeah, Nigel should be pressed on those. He didn't mention an electoral pact or joint government. No sign of formal talks. The Times, that rag, once a great newspaper. When I was travelling up and down to London every day on the Red Dragon Express, I used to buy a lot of newspapers to read on the train. I'd get the Times, the Daily Mail, and the Sun to read on the way up. Yeah, the Times described Nigel's response as lukewarm, and others have said it's Nigel being his usual vague self. Oh, one point that was interesting was Andrew Rossendale, Reform MP. He said he hoped that people can come together, and he acknowledged that there was common ground between the parties. There is some common ground, but not that much. The real patriots are all already over in Restore Britain. What's left in Reform are the weak civ-nats, yeah, the ones who think anybody can be English and Welsh. That's a red line in the sand for me, a real red line in the sand. Well, so where are we at then, guys? Where are we at? About time I decorated this bunker, isn't it? Where do matters stand this morning? Well, Rupert's succeeded in forcing Farage to address the question of cooperation, hasn't he? He has pushed that. Farage didn't slam the door, but he hasn't walked through it either. I wouldn't let him through it. The man is poisonous. I said yesterday, didn't I, that former Conservatives would be a huge, huge stumbling block. And Farage, for whatever his own personal reasons, probably financial, that's non-negotiable. Nigel wants the Restore voters and activists, and perhaps some of Restore Britain's leading players, but he's not going to negotiate with Rupert as an equal. And personally, I don't believe that Rupert could ever trust Nigel to be honest in any dealings that they had with each other as parties. You know what I think Rupert should do now? Challenge Nigel Farage to the 5 points, to respond to the 5 points. Yeah. Hammer home those five points and demand an answer. Yeah, that's what I think that's what Rupert should do next. That would really put him on the spot, wouldn't it? Okay, guys, I think that's all I've got for you. Next video is going to be about Restore Britain. There's trouble in paradise. You'll be able to find out about that in the next video. You've been listening to Paul Morris, The Green Arrow. What do I always say? Aim high, vote low, restore Britain, follow the bear. See you on the next one. Oh, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, and consider becoming a party member. YouTube is giving our videos a bit of a kick in. And removing advertising from some of our videos. They don't like me talking about that country in the Middle East, or who really runs the world.